Hello, my crafty friends. I hope a bunch of you are getting ready to play along the JB5's with us on Sunday, our fourth Sunday stream, which is going to be on the 24th of January, and it will start at 4:30 Central Time on the Marriottier, and then we will she will introduce it, and then we will go through. There will be five artists, YouTube artists, who will be live doing the five steps. Then we'll take a break, and then there will be five more of us doing those same five steps. Each artist is going to do one step live on camera for you that you can play along with. So if you really want to do this, it would be so much fun, and you'll have double the chances. You can start out with the very first person working on it, and then do this, like the first, second, and third one during the first half of the hop, and then do the fourth and fifth one in the second half of the hop, or however you want to do it. I don't have the finalized list at this point, or I would stick it in the description box below. But just know this is the fourth Sunday hop, and it is a live hop, and I think it's going to be a blast. But I know there are a lot of people there are some people who don't even know what JB5's is. So let's start with that. Journaling by fives is a concept that Shannon Green came up with, and she started a whole thing when she did this. I don't think she knew what a big thing it was going to become, and her point was to that you don't have to take years to do a journal, and you don't have to take hours to do a journal page, and it doesn't have to be just this perfection thing to really enjoy journaling. And now this is my take on why she did this. I might not have all her motives exactly right, but the point was to make it fast and easy, and help you learn that you don't have to agonize over every step. So there are 5 steps to this. The first step is paint and ink. The second step is to collage or recycle. The third step is stamps and stencils. The fourth step is words and images, and the fifth step is pens and pencils. So you're going through all the steps that you would take to build an art journal page, but what you're going to be doing is building 20 art journal pages. 20 pages, 15 minutes, 5 steps, and that's how you do it. Now, there are a lot of things that stress people out about this. 15 minutes stresses a lot of people out about it. Some people think 15 minutes might be fine, but I can't do 20 pages in 15 minutes. So I'm going to give you some hints on how you can do 20 pages in 15 minutes. And you're only doing 15 minutes per step, not the whole 20 pages finished in 15 minutes, but 15 minutes per step. Now, in this hop, because we're doing it twice, you can take a rest break. If we were just doing it once and going boom, 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 it would be pretty stressful just to pop in. Now, the first time I did this, I did it exactly like that. I had my daughter timing me. I did the first step 15 minutes. I took about a 5-minute break to go grab whatever I needed for the next step, and I did that for 15 minutes, and it was kind of stressful. Plus, I was trying to do 20 pages when I had never done this before and was pretty new to art journaling to begin with. If you're new to art journaling, or the idea of 20 pages scares you, then don't do 20 pages. I don't think Shannon will care. She wants to promote and encourage you. She doesn't want to burden you. So if you only want to try it with 10 pages, then try it with 10 pages. Whatever you think you can do, stretch yourself at least one more page beyond what you think you can do. That's my advice, to make it a little bit more fun. You don't want it to be easy to get through. You want to have to grab things and put it on. Now, to make that easier, you can fix a kit. of the things you're going to use. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not the kit I'm going to use because this is all I have here for step number 2, collage and recycle. And obviously, I'm going to want more stuff than that. But I wanted to show you the kinds of things I'm going to put in my kit so I'll be ready. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts behind how I'm planning to do this. The first thing you want to start with is your substrate. Now, I'm doing it on individual pieces because turning the pages and grabbing stuff to stick, wax paper, whatever, to stick in there and doing it in a book is the way Shannon did it. And a lot of people do it that way and they love that. Just turn the page, go on, turn the page, go on. And I can really see how that would be helpful. However, that's frustrating for me. So I'm going to do, I've got these scraps of stuff that came in a bag of stuff that I got at the thrift store. And there just happened to be 20 of these mat boards. And they're all relatively the same size. And they're not too big. And that's one reason I chose them, because they're not too big. This, I can slap paint on 20 of these pretty quick. I'm also going to have a table where I can take this one and stick it over there. And then in between steps, I can gather them back up again. But that'll give them a place to lay, dry, whatever. But it's easier for me to do this and just focus on the page I'm working on and not fighting with the book. Now, that's my personal feelings on this. Like I said, a lot of people use books, and some people use composition books. Some people use journals. You could, if you wanted to, alter an old book where it just has 20 pages in it. But if you're using a book, you can stick the wax paper in there, which makes sure it doesn't stick to stuff. Excuse me, just a sec. But you don't have to do that. The first time I believe I saw Shannon do it, she just left all the backs empty. So she just shut the page and went on, and shut the page and went on. And if it stuck to this page, she didn't worry about it. This page didn't matter. This page wasn't being arted on. But a lot of people go ahead and stick the wax paper in there when they turn the page. You could just do 10 pages and work on each side. That's acceptable. You can do it a lot of different ways. If you want to work on individual pages like I am and you don't have a place to lay them down, you can lay it down, stick a piece of wax paper on top of it, and lay the next one down on top of that. So you can work on whatever substrate you want. Just choose something you like to work with. I'm choosing this because I like the idea of working on individual pages, and I kind of like that it's not white. So if my paint doesn't get on there perfectly, it's not a big deal. Of course, if you don't mind leaving white space, which I have trouble with, I try, but I have trouble with it, then a white paper won't be a big deal for you. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about the substrate that you're working on. Just choose something you want to work on. The second step is collage and recycle. And I've got some different stuff here. You could have fabric. You could have burlap. You could have lace. We all have some kinds of papers. You can just use all scraps out of your scrap bin, or you can go find something that you really like and turn it into things to use. You can use painting papers, book papers. This is braille paper. This is just a book edge. This is an edge with, the holes in it. All of these things are mostly to give texture and just a background. So you've got paint. You've covered it all in paint, and then you're putting some of this stuff down. Now, you have to realize you've already painted. So probably want to put down things that you don't mind showing up, rather than things you would gesso over or paint over, because you're not going to have time to go back and gesso over them. So that's something to think about. You might not want to put this fabric down or burlap down because it takes it longer to put it down than to slap down some paper. You might decide which kind of glue do you want to put it down. Do you want to put it down with a glue stick, with art glitter glue, or Fabri-Tac, or what's the other, tacky glue. You probably don't want to do this by painting it on with the like Mod Podge or that kind of thing, simply because of dry time and moving to the next stage. So you want to think about that in advance and have the right kinds of glues you want to use available. And then step number 3. Oh, and you can use these too. I've got them out here for step number 3, which is stamps and stencils, but you can put your paint down with these if you want to. I'm probably, and I didn't get it out, but I'm just going to show you, I'm probably going to put my paint on with a brayer, just because I know I can do it fast and easy. Of course, these pages are small, so a paintbrush would work just fine. So you can put your paint on like this. You can put it on with a credit card. You can do a combination of those things. But that's something you ought to decide in advance so you know what you're going to use and have it ready. I'm probably going to have more than one basket so that I can have everything ready and just pull out. Stamps and stencils. Are you going to use ink to do your stamps and stencils, or are you going to use your paints? Paint and ink is what step number 1 said. And so you could have some craft paints out. You could have some of those inks out. You could use them both. I guess you could do this as ink. It just says ink. It doesn't say it has to be painty ink. But you might want to, and I didn't mention this when I was on step 1, so I'm going to go back and mention it. You might want to pick out colors you like together. You don't mind if they mix, and have them ready, so that so you're not trying to choose paint. Just have colors you like. Have them all ready before you start. Have them all ready put out on a palette, so you can just grab them and go. I'm going to have my paints blobbed out onto a jelly plate so I can just go and then rub on my pages. That's my thought at the moment. Now, this may change before we get to January 24th. Today, this is what I'm thinking. Scraping it on like this is a really good plan because it goes on thin and it dries really fast. So that's something to think about too, is your dry time. Brushing, you're not going to have, it takes longer. Plus, you're not going to have, it takes longer to dry, it takes longer to paint, which is why I was planning to use a brayer. I may do some of all of them on different pages. I don't know yet, but that's my thoughts. Now, for stamping and stencils, I've got a lot of different kinds of things to use. You can use these to stamp with. You can use homemade stamps that you carved. You can use things around the house to stamp with. You can use regular old rubber stamps. You can stamp on them with ink. You can stamp on them with paint. You can, and then same thing with the stencils. Are you going to stencil with paint or with ink pads? You need to have that available. You need to know what you're going to do and limit yourself. Say, I'm only going to use these 5 stencils. That way I don't have to think too much. I can just grab one and do this page, grab the next one to do the next page, or do a couple of them on a page, or whatever. And it says stamps and stencils. That does not mean you have to use stamps on every page and stencils on every page. You can use only stamps on one page and only stencils on another page. This step is for stamps and stencils. You can only stencil on everything. You can only stamp on everything, and you're still okay. You can only use paint and no ink on the first step, and it's okay. You can only collage down things that are not recycling anything, things you picked out and love in advance that don't have anything to do with recycling. Or you can get trash out and recycle everything. So the point is to plan in advance what you want to do. And then words and images. And I think this is the place that will take the most thought for me. I have a little box, and I'm not saying that this is the box I'm going to use because I have several, but it has sayings in it. And there's at least 20 of them in here. I could just pick one out and stick it on every page. But have 20 or 25 that you like, that make you feel good, that you know you'll want to put down on a page. Choose them in advance. Then it's easy to put them down. Choose focal points in advance. Now, I will choose words and I will choose focal points. I probably will not couple them together and say, oh, I'm going to use this word with this focal point, because that kind of takes some of the spontaneity away. Oh, you could use watercolor for your painting if you're fast with watercolor and you just want to use a mop brush and just get down a basic. But once again, you've got dry time, so you have to think about that. I have a bunch of, well, there's some things in here that aren't fussy cut. They're just textures. You could use this in your collage stage in the recycle part. You could just take some of these and put down. It doesn't have to be this kind of stuff. That's just the kind of things I like to put back there. You know, you need to pick out images that are the right size for your page. So don't have all these huge images if you've got small pages. There's also words you could pick out. You know, you could pick out two, and you could have it like this. Have him hanging from inside that wardrobe, or, you know, whatever. You can make it as silly or as inspirational or as, you know, however you want to do it. Your whole book can just be jokes. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you've got some plan, you know, an amount and a certain amount. Don't get out 60 different things that you want to put on your pages, because then you still have to think too hard. Just grab a couple to put them on your page, or just one. You know, some of these on my pages, if we look at my page here, if I've got one focal point, I've got my collage stuff down. Let's just throw a little bit of collage stuff down. And I've got one focal point, and I just had these in there. That's not really where they should be, but, you know, there we go. Done page. And then you're going to come back in step 5 and use pens and pencils to do doodling or the shading or all of that kind of thing. But you can see how if you do this and you have everything planned out, you can do it pretty quickly. Also, and planning it out, don't get obsessive over it, okay? That just grab stuff you like. If you have things you like, you don't have to obsess over perfect things. Now, if you want a theme, then choose words that go with that theme. Choose images that go with that theme. But they, but it doesn't have to be themed at all. If you just choose things you like and put them down, you're going to enjoy it. And the pen and pencils thing, you know, being the last thing, once you're not going to probably get all of that done in 15 minutes unless you don't do a whole lot of shading. All you're going to do is do a little scribbling or a little outlining or something like that. Then you may not get all of this step done. You honestly there may be a couple of steps in there you don't get all 20 pages done, or however many pages you're doing. And that's okay. You don't have to. If you don't finish, you can come back later. In fact, if I remember correctly, she encourages you to go a second round and finish up. You know, if you want to go back and add more paint, or go back like you wanted to add a little bit of gesso on top of some of your collage because it was too bright. You go back and do step 1 and then go to step 2. Do you want any more collage on any of these? Pull out the ones you do and do step 2 again. If you, do I want to add more stamping or stenciling? If I do, then pull out those pages and do that for step 3 again. Probably if you didn't finish all your words and images, then, you know, pull the ones out you didn't get done and do those. So it does, and you can go through all the steps and look at your pages, and then you can go back and one at a time at your own leisure, add whatever you want to them. You don't have to go a second round of JB5's to finish them. Or you can look at them and say, that was a fun experience, and I want to remember exactly what I got done during these 15-minute periods, and so I'm not going to do anything else to it. That's what I did with my first JB5's, and I'll show it to you after I move this stuff out of the way. I'll show you my first one. And some of them look sort of finished, and some of them don't. But I had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm glad I did, and I think you will have fun doing it, and you'll be glad you did too. But it will be faster, it will be easier for you and less stressful if you have picked out things that you like to work with, and you pick them out, you know, in advance. Don't have 20 colors of paint sitting out there. Just have colors you really like that go well together. And you might, as you go along, add darker colors or add less white or add more white or something so that the pages don't all look the same. Or you could have 7 colors and use 3 of them on some pages and another 2, you know, so that you're mixing them up on each page. But the point is to just do it quickly and move on rather than to obsess over each page. Okay, I'm going to put all this stuff up. And then I'll get out my book and I'll show you how mine turned out the last time I did it. One other thing, if you don't have your papers in sizes you want, you might want scissors. If you're going to fussy cut something, I would have it done in advance. But you might want to just tear off pieces of paper that are smaller than what you had. So a ruler, this is a tear ruler that I made myself, and I have a video if you're interested in that. It's in my DIY art supplies playlist, but I'm going to have this and this because I can tear pretty straight, nice edges with this, and I can tear creakly edges with this if I want to, and I can tear things pretty quick and slap them down. So I'm not, because whatever scraps I have may not be the size I want. That was another thing I forgot to tell you, that you might have those handy, because if you decide you need it, you don't want to have to go run find it. Okay, this is my Journaling by 5's book. I've done Journaling by 5's twice. Once I did it by myself, like I said, and the second, and I did it on these pieces of cardboard. They're just like cereal boxes, and I did this by myself with my daughter timing me. And then on the back of the first 10 of these is my second session that I did with Beth Schuler. And I can't remember if there was someone else doing this with us or not. But so these first 10, when I turn them, you'll see stuff on the back. And the stuff on the back is from my second go at Journaling by 5's. Neither time did I go back and finish stuff afterwards. What I have on here is what happened while I was journaling. But I did have some stuff fussy cut, and that's pretty much all the preparation I had. Now, I did stop between steps and grab the things for the next step, but I had the time to do that because I was doing it at home. I wasn't, going on to the next hop. Anyway, which is why I suggest you go ahead and have stuff prepared, because you are hopefully going to be moving on to the next step. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to show you what these look like, and they're all their finished or unfinished glory, depending on, how you think about this. To me, they're finished, even if they're not perfect. See, this one I just put words, and I didn't put an image. I didn't have time to put all the images, I guess. I just put words. I didn't know what I wanted, so I just went on. Now, you'll see these are a little more finished looking, because this was several years later and I'd done more art journaling, which is one reason I did them in here, so I could kind of compare. This is one of my favorite ones right here. I love that one. But, get images out of magazines or old books or whatever you have. Most of these images came out of magazines or greeting cards. This was from a birthday card somebody sent my dad when he was a little boy. This was out of a magazine. The more you use your brain, the more brain you'll have to use. So think of things that are fun. Seeing this one, just the good days are made. So, you know, you can pick out things that none of these don't go together. Woman of impact, you will know them by their fruit. Matthew 7:16. So, and the rest of these are all just from the first time, because I only did 10 pages the second time because I wanted to have more time. And I didn't want to feel stressed, especially since I was live streaming when I did it. These are the inside of goldfish boxes because they have that foil paper inside. This one got stuck. It did that after I put it in the journal because I had them laying around. I didn't stick them. You know, that happens. It just happens. Some of these pages I like better than others. Some of them, you know, if I was doing them as art journal pages, I would have done a lot more to them. So there are my first 2 times doing journaling by 5s. And I'm going to make a different book. You know, I could just use the backs of the other 10, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do 20 pages. When I pulled these out of the bag, I said, I'm going to do however many this is. If it's 20, great. If it's not 20, fine. If it's more than 20, I'm only going to do 20. Well, there were exactly 20 in that bag. So I'm going to do 20. Anyway, I hope that this has helped take away some of your fears if you're afraid of journaling by 5s. And because it should be fun. And Shannon wanted it to be fun when she came up with it. It was so she could have fun, so her friends could have fun, so you could have fun. So don't let yourself get too stressed. If you know the time limit is a stressor for you, then do less pages. But I know for me, the main thing was having too many choices. The first time around, I had way too many choices. I didn't get out, 25 images. I had like 40 images. I didn't get out 22 words. I had 50. And so I still had to make all these choices, and that was very stressful. So this time around, I'm going to have a few extra because I might not feel it, when I get there. But don't have so many choices that it's just like having your craft room all over again, and you're in the same struggle you are every time you do a journal page. Oh, well, God bless you, and I hope you'll join us on January the 24th, starting at 4:30 on the Mary Autier's channel, and then we'll go through. And like I said, there are going to be 5 people doing it, and then a rest break, and then 5 more doing it again. So I am not going to do it twice. I may do some of the pages watching some of the first girls, but I'm the 3rd person in the 2nd round. So I'm not going to do more than those 2 steps. The first paint and ink and collage and recycle. That's all I'm going to do on here before I do mine, because that's where I'm supposed to be at to do mine. So, but you'll have 2 chances is what I'm saying. If you don't catch us the first round, you can catch the 2nd round. If all you can do is the first round, great. If you can be there all evening and you want to do the first round and then come back and amplify and make it more perfect the 2nd round, you can do that. It's up to you. Just have fun with it. God bless you. Bye-bye.